Now that we've completed the assessment flow, let's create a volunteer follow-up flow for the contacts who specifically responded that they want to volunteer. Then we'll create a campaign so we can continue the conversation with the volunteers with follow-up messages to be sent at regular intervals with a registration date. First, let's add the contacts to a group that we'll use later on. Then we'll add an Enter a Flow node after having routed the contacts through the volunteer category in the Needs Assessment flow. I've already created a flow called Volunteer Follow-up, so I'll choose that from the drop-down menu. Let's see how to do that. At this point, when contacts reach this node, Enter a Flow, they'll be sent to the Volunteer Follow-up. Let's see what that looks like. Here in the Volunteer Follow-up flow, all I'm doing is updating a contact field to set a date and time to now. Here's what that looks like. Note the expression I'm using here. The base expression is now, to save the current date and time that the contact is passing through this node. You can see a full list of expressions in our help docs, but you can also simply start typing to see a drop-down list of possible functions. When contacts pass through this node, a new custom contact field called Volunteer Registration Date will automatically be saved with the exact date and time a contact passes through. Now that the new contact field is created, we need to make sure that the type is correct. When a new field is created, it is by default a text type. We need to manually update this. Go to the Contacts tab. On the left, click Fields. Here are all of the custom contact fields that I've created so far. If I look at Volunteer Registration Date, I can see that this is a text type. I'll need to change that. Updating the field type must be done in order to use the field properly elsewhere in your workspace in instances where only date and time fields will be accepted, such as campaigns, which is what we'll create next. Campaigns allow you to schedule messages and flows relative to a date field saved for a contact, such as a date a contact was created or the date a contact joined a group, like registration date we just created before. Campaigns are often used for drip communications such as maternity health reminders, therapy adherence messages, or messages that correspond with the life cycle of a product or service. To be clear, campaigns will send relative to a date and time field. So all the contacts in a group will receive your messages and flows contained within the campaign at different times, since their registration dates will be unique to them. Let's see how that works. We'll click on the Campaigns tab at the left of the workspace and then click New Campaign. Give it a name and select the group you want to receive the messages or flows. Let's look at the one I've already created. Within my campaign, I'll add individual events. These can be either messages or flows. If you want to send a flow, it will need to be pre-made, so you can choose it from the drop-down. In this example, let's send the contacts a message. In the following drop-down, we need to select what we want to do when the contact is already active in a flow. We could stop the flow and send the message. We could skip this message entirely, or we could send the message and still allow the contact to continue forward in the flow so that their incoming messages will be routed to that flow. Next, we'll choose when to send. Because we already updated the registration date field to a date and time type, we see it in the drop-down menu. If you don't see your field, you haven't updated the type. Finally, we'll select the time this message should be delivered. I don't want the contact to receive this message at night, so I'll choose a time in the afternoon. These times are based on your workspace's date and time settings. You can add multiple events to a single campaign, allowing you to continue sending messages or flows to the group based on each contact's individual registration date. Now that we've created a campaign for our volunteers, let's get back to the contacts that are looking for housing in our needs assessment flow. Tickets make it easy to escalate contacts from automated flows to human agents, which means your team can assign, respond to, and close tickets, all without ever leaving your workspace. You can quickly see tickets that need your attention or tickets that have yet to be assigned in the unassigned folder. In the needs assessment flow, we'll add an open ticket action. In the open ticket node, you can choose an agent to assign this ticket to. That's optional. To add agents to your workspace, simply invite them as users. You can see how in our help docs. Add some text to the message so that the agent has an understanding of the contact's needs. You can reference fields like the contact's name or any other fields you've saved for the contact like email, phone number, etc. You can also reference results from within the flow. Now, anytime a contact passes through this node in the flow, a ticket will automatically be opened for them with an agent who can start a chat. In the Tickets tab, you can see tickets that are open or closed, assigned to agents, or left unassigned. Click on a ticket and you'll see the contact's chat history as well as their saved fields. And the agent will see the message that we added to the open ticket action. In the dropdown at the top right, you'll see that you could add a note that only the support team will see. You could also start the contact in a flow. At the bottom, you can start live chatting with the contact. One option here would be to add a trigger to start a flow when the ticket is closed. To do this, we'll navigate to the Triggers tab and add a new trigger. I've already created a flow called Closed Ticket. I have the option to include or exclude certain groups, and I'll create the trigger. In the flow, I can send the contact a final message, offer suggestions for other ways they can reach out to us, perform actions like adding or removing them from a group, updating their contact information, and more. Anytime a ticket is closed, the contact will automatically be started in this flow to end their interaction. Campaigns and tickets are just two advanced features that TextIt offers among many, many more. As you explore the platform and build more complex flows, you can find resources in our extensive library of help articles and reach out to our support team via the widget at the bottom right of your workspace.